Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to Dreamwalker Tarot. This is the November readings for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Mars. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for post notifications. I am using the Magic Mediums Oracle by Annelle Reed, illustrated by Ash Color for this particular spread, where I just try to gather like the energies for the month. And the first card that came out is Move in the Reverse. And Move in the Reverse is basically saying that you need to get up, Pisces. You need to move, right? And this can be like as depicted in the card. Just physically exercising actually releases like feel good happy hormones, and so you might be in a state where you're feeling slightly depressed, slightly down, and so this move card indicates that exercising, moving your body could really be helpful to you to help with your mood. It's also helpful for moving toxins out of your body. But as the card also indicates, moving and exercising and developing an exercise regimen overall is basically a setup to help you actually accomplish and actualize your goals, because it teaches you discipline, physical discipline, and also mental discipline. And so this also kind of explains the second card which came out, which is the intelligence card, right? So the exercise and the moving and developing an exercise regimen plan can help you not only physically, but also emotionally, and also being able to accomplish and persevere through a workout actually is a setup for you to actualize outside goals by implementing those same type of practices and mind, the way your mind is engaged in actually accomplishing your goal actually allows you to accomplish a mission. And so the intelligence in the reverse also talks about feeling like you're in a state of being powerless, right? Feeling a little bit trapped, feeling almost a little bit like a victim, and there's like sadness attached to this card. But being misunderstood, and even being ignored, and feeling like, life is not fair, and that, the life that you're living kind of really doesn't feel necessarily like your own, and that just life just isn't really fair, and you feel like you're not really being seen, right? And if you look at the way that these cards actually kind of like interact with each other just in the layout itself, the intelligence card is really looking at the move card in a weird sort of way, right? If they were in the upright, they would be facing away from each other. But in the reverse, they're actually looking at each other. So there's a relationship here between the way that you physically look at yourself. It couldn't be like a body dysmorphic, or you have issues with your weight, just overall body issues, feeling as though you're a little stagnant in like your workout plan. But counter to that, it could also be an issue where you feel like you're at that stage in your life where you're really kind of thinking about your life and your career and the things that you want to accomplish in your life, and it's something that you want to start. It's like a journey that you want to go on, but there is a little bit of a stuck vibe here. Like you might want to do it, but you don't know how. You don't really know where to start. And you feel like you're not moving in the way that you know that you can, or in the way that you want to, and so you're feeling a little bit stuck. And so that's kind of like the energy that I'm getting with these two cards, and we're going to go ahead and pull tarot and see what that says. Okay, so in the current position, we have the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups is basically a card that talks about celebrations, like having a good time, going out, drinking, and maybe partying, hanging out with friends. But it's really about celebrating with friends and developing friendships with people that like are surrounding you, and just having like a really good time and developing bonds with these people. And what is crossing the Three of Cups is the High Priestess and the Empress in reverse. Okay, so the um, the High Priestess is usually actually the core card that represents you, which is your sign, Pisces. And the Empress in reverse can signify one of two things, right? With it crossing the Three of Cups, and the Three of Cups being a bit of a celebration and also indicative of a number. With these two cards, it looks like these are the two people that are a part of the trio of cups that was represented before. And so one of them would be you as the high priestess, and the other one is the Empress, and that could be a Taurus, a Libra, or a Virgo, right? And so a couple things could be happening here, right? This is just a representation of the relationships that you're trying to form and trying to develop with the individuals that you're spending time with or hanging out with. But with the Empress in reverse, it looks like you're having a little bit of difficulty creating those bonds that were represented in the last, with the Three of Cups, right? So you might be having difficulty connecting or developing relationships or or nurturing relationships in your life. And that might be a thing that's happening for you right now. Or this is a situation where there's three people here. And the two are represented, like I said, by these two cards, but there is one other person missing. And so there is an issue with not necessarily yourself, but with the Taurus and Libra individual that you're having a difficult time creating a bond or a connection with, or you're not being able to cultivate the relationships that you're looking for, right? And intuitively, I feel like you're trying to put forth that effort, but intuitively it's like you feel like it's not working, it's not really going the way that you thought it would go. At the heart of this, and in the position for the unconscious influences that are occurring within this dynamic, is a Seven of Wands. And the Seven of Wands is basically talking about being defensive and territorial and kind of being a little bit blocked off. And so if this is an issue with you trying to cultivate and develop relationships with other people, and you find yourself having the inability to do that, then the Seven of Wands is indicating that this could be because you might be a little bit defensive, right? And so this card is basically showing that like there's really isn't a lot of color on the outside, and the color talks about being, the playfulness and kind of like walling yourself off and putting and raising up a lot of barriers to kind of like defend yourself from what you might view as being attacked or assaulted by other people. So you kind of feel like within this dynamic, you might be feeling like you're criticized often, or you feel like people don't really understand you or don't see you, or they're trying to get at you for what you might possess, or coming at you for reasons that you feel like you have to protect yourself for whatever reasons they might have, right, for getting close to you. And so you surround yourself with protection to prevent individuals from getting in, right? And this could be someone that is just basically challenging like your point of view or your stance or your position or your authority. And so I feel like that might be something that's happening in this dynamic specifically, but in a general sense, it could just be that the reason why, if you feel like you're unable to connect, it's because you might be appearing to be a little bit defensive or coming off in a defensive way, and you have your wall up, and it's like hard for people to kind of like get close to you. In the past is represented by the moon in reverse. And so the moon in reverse, the moon in the upright talks about there being secrets or things that you don't really understand that's at play, right? And with the moon in reverse, it looks like you might kind of know that you're a little bit defensive and that's why you can't connect, right? There's that. And then for some of you, I feel like there are some things that came out about this dynamic with the Three of Cups, with the friendships and the hanging out, that something came out of that situation, and something was revealed. There was some secrets that were kind of like revealed within that dynamic, and that has kind of put a block on the development of the friendship or the relationship, or what have you. So there might be things that you have found out about people within like your friendship group or your circle that have kind of put you in a position of feeling very guarded. And or it could be that someone has found out something about you, and that's the reason why they're acting very guarded with you, right? And to be a little bit nosy, I did a little pull for a clarifier for what the moon in reverse represents in terms of what has come out to kind of affect the dynamic and the ability to kind of like develop these connections, right? So with the being defensive, what cards came out were the Ten of Baskets, the in the upright, the Ten of Coins in the reverse, the Daughter of Sticks in the reverse, and the Daughter of Coins in the reverse, and the Mother of Coins in the reverse. I'm using the Hoodoo Tarot to do the clarification with. Okay. So this is what came out. So basically, some of you, and this is not all of you, obviously, have found out about a potential, within your circle, there's a potential marriage. And so this relationship that you might have been cultivating might not be with someone like, whatever, it could be whatever gender, but whoever it is that you were trying to develop something with, it looks like they might have already had something. They might already be married, but be married to someone else. There are a lot of people kind of represented here with the cards. You see the Ten of Coins is in the reverse. And so this marriage might have been kind of like represented in a way where the marriage is unhappy, and that the Mother of Coins, which is the female of the family, is kind of like a little bit self-centered, a little bit egotistical, stuck on themselves. Decided to just go ahead and read what the book says in terms of the card being in the reverse. In the reverse, the Mother of Coins is self-absorbed, materialistic, a shopaholic, or a gold digger. In a reading, if she doesn't represent a literal person with these qualities, then she represents these attributes, right? And that is also what is said about the Daughter of Sticks and the Daughter of Coins. The Daughter of Coins is said to be a little bit anal, pessimistic, stubborn, joyless, compulsive, fearful, and a perfectionist. And the Daughter of Sticks is represented as being a little bit hot-tempered, abusive, overly competitive, insecure, loud, boisterous, jealous, a show-off, and a habitual procrastinator. So this is what the moon card has revealed, right? This could be revealed to you about someone else. Like you might have found out someone else is married, or you might have found out that a lot of these things, these personality attributes and these personality types are being represented in the people that you're hanging out with. Or someone may be looking at you or the group that you're in as having these personality traits. And like I said, I kind of feel like to some degree you might know who these people are, but there seem to be a couple of people involved in this equation, which would make sense, with the Three of Cups. So that is kind of what the tarot is saying has come out or been revealed. And I think because of all of this, there is like a little bit of, a lot of defensiveness happening, and that is causing the inability to create any real connections or any real long-lasting bonds. Let's move on. And so overall, the ideal outcome is that you didn't want to lose anything, right? So this was your ideal outcome, which is kind of a little bit of a weird outcome if you are looking to connect with someone. But with the what was it, the seven of wands that came up, it kind of makes sense that you're a little bit defensive because you might feel like in building these relationships and these connections, you might lose something. You might lose a part of yourself. I feel like for some of you, you feel like it might be money, like you don't want to feel like anyone's taking financially from you. And so not losing money is kind of like a guiding factor, or not losing anything is your guiding factor for the reason why you're operating in the way that you do, because this is your ideal outcome. If you don't want to lose anything, that means that you're not really investing anything, right? And so going into something with that fear is what's happening, because you're going into it with like already with a negative mindset, right? And so the outcome, or in the near future, the outcome is represented by the Emperor card, right? The Emperor card is one about, like, it's about order, it's about control, it's about structure, it's about security, right? And the Emperor actually stands, like the book says, is in direct opposition to the Empress, which was in reverse. And so that kind of comes along with the situation in terms of like the outcome. The Emperor really is one that basically takes control, right? Who's a little bit stern, who's a little bit rigid in his thinking, and who's really about just having things working out a certain way, employing rules. This could really mean that you probably turn and try to focus on work, or for some, you might be kind of like developing a system outside of this and kind of like turning your back on these friendships that you're trying to develop, and just really kind of working on standing alone and doing for yourself, right? The Emperor card is also really talking about like kind of coming out of this situation feeling a little bit, like I said, a little bit disenchanted, and really starting to feel like you have to just depend on yourself, because the Emperor is a really masculine role, and it means you kind of like depending on yourself, turning into yourself, making sure that you do what needs to be done to provide. And so I kind of feel like, along with the Seven of Wands, it's like you're putting even stricter boundaries into position because of all the things that have come out, because of all the things that you've discovered. It's like you're putting yourself, kind of like taking yourself out of the equation and really just focusing on providing for you, providing for your family, really taking on that masculine element in your life. And like I said, putting up rigid boundaries. In the position of your current approach is the Ace of Cups, the Devil card in reverse, and the Seven of Swords in the reverse. So based on what the cards are saying, it's like you're trying to, after all of these things that have come out and all of these things that you found out, I feel like your heart might be a little bit hardened. I feel like you do want a connection, but you don't really understand how to get it. And I feel like you're carrying a lot of the baggage of these past situations, but with the Ace of Cups, it looks like you want to try something new. It's like you are looking for love, you are wanting to move in that direction, and I feel like you're starting new. But with the Devil in reverse and the Seven of Swords in the reverse, there is a hint of you needing to deal with any betrayal, or any sort of betrayal that you might have felt in like your past situations, and the way that you deal with them, because it doesn't look like you're dealing with them in the appropriate way based on these cards. If you found out about someone betraying you, I think you need to look at the full picture of the situation and really try to like decipher it and take whatever valuable lessons you take from that situation before you move forward into trying to work on something new, because it's like you're bringing with you, it's like when someone says to you that like you're being the person that you hate the most, it's like you're moving forward, now turning into the person that you feel betrayed you or hurt you the most, trying to move on, because it's like you want to start something new, but in that same breath you're also protecting your heart. You have like a lot of walls up. You have a lot of boundaries, and so it's going to be hard for someone to kind of get close to you, which is what you want. But at the same time, it's like there's still like a lot of this pain and heartache, and a lot of really just operating from a negative space. Like you might be drinking a lot. You might be trying to just move forward and move into something new with the hopes of not thinking about all the things that have happened. And so one of the things that even the card says is that the cloak and the dagger, which is what's represented in this photo, is a phrase that represents a clandestine and subversive situation. As a cloak billows in the shadows, in the shadow, blades from an unknown source pierce it repeatedly. Loyalty and honor is nowhere in sight, and parties involved may be underhanded and deceitful. Above the rat is a central knife, hovering ominously. Betrayal and lies have a way of returning full circle. And so that is something that I felt like needed to be said. Like, if you're going to be moving forward, you need to deal with whatever heartaches and issues you have coming out of any past relationships that you had, any past friendships that you had, and being able to move into your next part of your life clean and clear, because you're not going to be able to avoid any karmic repercussions for things that you might have done in the past, or the stain of anything that's happened to you personally in the past that you have not been able to work through and have not been able to kind of resolve on an emotional level, and moving forward into something new. I mean, it's just not going to work, right? It's just not going to work. So that is kind of like your approach. I feel like you're trying to forget and just move on like nothing happened into something new, and that ain't gonna work. Okay, so and in your current environment, it's being represented here by the Chariot in reverse, the Strength card in reverse, and the Five of Wands in the upright, right? And so the Chariot in reverse is can also be a sign for Cancer, but the Chariot in reverse is like one of those cards where it's like about moving forward or not moving forward, and in the reverse it's saying that it's not moving forward. And with the Strength card here and the Five of Wands in the upright, what it looks like is in your environment there's like really a very competitive nature in your environment, and I don't know if this is just you kind of like feeling competitive and feeling like, may the strong one, may the strongest one win, right? And there's like with the way that the the Five of Wands is represented here, is like a bunch of sticks kind of like overlaying each other, and it's like parties are fighting so that one person can kind of like get the ultimate prize, right? So if you found out that someone is married or otherwise engaged, if there is a note of competition between you and the spouse, or you're going back and forth with the spouse, or you're just in a space where you're still fighting this battle from the past, but trying to move forward, the Chariot in reverse is basically saying that this is not moving forward, and that you with the Strength card in reverse, it's like you need to employ some strength, an approach, to kind of like watch the way you handle the approach that you're taking, because if you are being competitive in something that isn't moving forward, you're kind of like trapping yourself in like a weird way in something that you don't necessarily need to be in. Okay, what is hidden and what you need to know is the Tower. And so the Tower for me is probably one of the worst cards because it signifies something happened, completely shatters, it breaks you down. It's like a breakdown process. And in some ways, it's like a very scary thing because it really institutes a lot of changes in your life. But when the Tower card appears, it's the opportunity to kind of like start from the bottom and restructure and rebuild your life with a good foundation, because right now what you're building on, the foundation isn't really strong, right? And the Tower card basically shakes everything up and shakes everything out the tree, kind of like gets everything out of the way and everything out in the open, and then giving you the ability, and it removes things from your life to give you the ability to kind of restart and rebuild in a good, positive, and fresh way, which is really a blessing. I mean, it doesn't really necessarily always feel that like it's a blessing, but it is a blessing to be able to start over and to rebuild on a fresh note, and in the right way. And so the Tower moment that's going to happen, you're not going to like it, but it's really done to help you get rid of negative influences, negative relationships, and gives you the opportunity to kind of like remove all the negativity out of your life and really start to build something on a more positive, in a more positive way. And so the final outcome of the situation is the 10 of Pentacles in the reverse, the Queen of Cups in the reverse, and the 3 of Swords in the reverse. And so there is going to be a period for you, Pisces, where you're going to be dealing with loss, right? You are going to be going through a period of feeling rejected, and a period of loss, and just real heartbreak, and you're going to be there's the 10 of Pentacles really talks about like losing like money, financial stability, like having to move. So if you live with someone and this is happening, you might have to move out, and really just you might take a little bit of a hit financially, but I think also there is like a hit emotionally that's happening here. But with the 3 of Swords here in the reverse, this is really like the opportunity to heal. This is the opportunity to reflect. This is the opportunity to get in touch with your feelings. This is the opportunity to just go ahead and cry it out and feel, how you feel about it, and really just reflect on the situation, and work on rebuilding, like with the Tower card, like I said, rebuilding yourself on an emotional and a financial, and also on a spiritual level, because with the 3 of Swords here, this is really, like I said, a call to heal after past heartbreak. And so healing is definitely something that is on the table, especially if you're involved in the situation. It's, it feels a little bit emotional and a little bit draining, and just a little bit overwhelming. And so with the Tower card, removing all of that from your life, it's really an opportunity to kind of like sit with yourself and work through whatever issues that you have, especially dealing with, wanting to be in a relationship, but not necessarily knowing how to get rid of your boundaries. And I think that is something that you need to look at, is the boundaries that you placed around yourself, and why those are in place, and how to kind of allow yourself to be open to something new and something positive and something beautiful in your life. And so we're going to move on to the advice cards. Pisces, there was one advice card that came out for you, and it is the Feminine Energy card. So, darkness, the moon, the tides, the quiet gestation, before the chaos, the void. These are all aspects of feminine energy: passive, waiting, gestating, and nurturing. It is the opposite of the prior card, which is masculine energy, which is weird because masculine energy did come up for your the near future, right, with the Emperor card. So that is actually interesting that this card came out. It's the opposite of the prior card, so very different, yet the perfect companion. Perhaps you have yet to find your feminine side. The life you are leading right now has given you opportunities to embrace this part of you. But between the two opposing energies, feminine energy is the harder one to embrace. It requires trust and lack of fear. Trust that all is as it should be, and the absence of fear of things not getting done. Perhaps in the past you have been hurt when you were embracing your feminine energy, physically or mentally. This was the free will of the person who hurt you. It was not caused by being who you were. Do not let the actions of another dictate who you need to be. Examine your feminine side. Become friends with her again. Alternately, this card represents an important woman in the seeker's life. Okay, so I'm going to end this by saying feminine energy is definitely the most difficult of the two energies to gain, right? It really requires you to be open, to be trusting, and to be receptive, and to kind of sit and live in that, especially when it comes to relationships. Sometimes it's hard to just really allow and rely and trust on someone else because you don't necessarily know if you can, rely on them to that degree. And so you might feel like, you need to just go out here and do the shit on your own. And so this reading is really just saying that a lot of what needs to be healed here is your relationship with the feminine energies, and that you could be a man or you could be a woman. Feminine energy does not necessarily just lie with a woman. It's about being receptive and open and honest with yourself and loving up on yourself, right? But really, it's about being receptive to allowing things to kind of come into your sphere, and allowing that the universe is bringing you exactly what you need, and trusting. And that is a very hard place to be in, right? But it's something that you need to work on because it's necessary and it's needed in your life, and you deserve to receive, right? Just like you give, you deserve to receive. So I hope that this message helps you in some way. Please leave a comment. Let me know how this is working out in your life, or if this helped you in any way. Share the video with a friend who you feel like this video might help. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for post notifications. Thank you so much for listening. If you've come this far, I really, 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 really appreciate you. And I look forward to seeing you next month. Take care, Pisces.